What's going on, guys, and welcome into the Bench is Clear podcast, where we cover the best rivalry in all of sports. I am Jesse Gutierrez, and I represent the side of the San Francisco Giants.
I'm Tyler Cohen. I represent the side of the 2020 World Series champion Dodgers. My hat finally came in, so I had to flex on you a little bit.
Didn't want to pay for the extra shipping, huh? You're like, I'll just wait.
Yeah, no. It took fucking 2 months to get here. It's because I get the $39.59 or $39.50, whatever the fuck it is. $39.30. I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
I get like the flex fit hats. I hate fitted hats.
Really? I like getting fitted hats. I curve them a little bit, but
the crown's too big. I feel like I just look like an idiot. Like there's this much space between my head and the top of the hat. So that's why I rock the flex fitters.
Like Tango from I Love New York with the side hat, TI, like barely on your head.
Yeah, exactly. Funny story. I played baseball with a guy. We played in an adult league with a guy who was on I Love New York.
Which one?
Who was actually a porn star as well, which I didn't know.
Who was it?
I believe his name was Paco on the show. No,
it wasn't, because I love that show.
His real name was Sandro.
Fucking A, dude. You're just gonna drop some knowledge on this and just not bring light to what's going on. You look like a sexy librarian. What kind of shirt are you wearing?
It's a sweatshirt.
I don't know. It looks like a turtleneck from the angle. I don't know.
No,
I thought maybe just over this, unexpected Christmas break that we took out of nowhere, that you just all of a sudden got style, and you're like an old dude who maybe is like wants to be a writer or something. That's what you look like right now.
COVID has aged me terribly. Also on the show, his name was Rico. I just looked it up.
Rico? I feel like, fuck. Maybe if I saw his face.
You'll know when you see it. Yeah. Crazy, because we were playing, and I was like, it was like a month into the season. I was like, I know this guy. Where is he from? And I finally figured it out. And then I was researching it, and he was a porn star too. And I never asked him about it because I didn't want to be like, hey, dude, I saw you fucking.
Yeah.
But
I was looking at porn the other day, and I was like, oh shit, I know that guy.
No, he's sweetest dude. Love that guy. So Sandro, if you're listening by chance, love you, bro. Hopefully we'll get to play baseball again soon.
Yeah, man. Saw your dick. It was awesome. Good times and good vibes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, bro, solid. I don't know if that's something you could is that I don't know. We can talk about dicks all day. Let's not talk about dicks all day.
Yeah, we got a lot of baseball to talk about.
We do. There's a lot of things that we wanted to cover. I think we might have to run through it because hopefully free agency is gonna pick up maybe the big boys, but there have been a lot of free agent signings, a lot of little guys. Giants are making a lot of little splashes. I mean, things that they're kind of their MO.
I don't think you can call them little splashes. They're making a little dribble in the water, I guess.
But all the little guys that they've been picking up, the Alex Dickersons and the Mike Yastrzemskis, and the flyer guys, they've all been kind of working out. So, I mean, yeah, they're not going to be someone that's going to be the middle of your lineup, for a very long time, but they're waiting on those guys to come up. So the more guys you can get like this, to bolster the bullpen with, Matt Whistler and then John Brebbia, that's going to I don't know. It's just only going to help you out,
Yeah. Sure.
And then Anthony DeScalafani, Kirk Azali. I mean, it's gonna. I mean, technically, we're getting all of Trevor Bauer's old teammates. So I think.
Dog,
that
I just want to say it.
Happening.
I'm over it. I'm over the Trevor Bauer shit, dude. It's just annoying at this point. I get what you're trying to do.
Free agency is annoying.
Yeah, but no. I get what he's trying to do as a content creator. Because, that's something he's doing now besides baseball. But it's just fucking annoying. All these tweets so Dodger fans, are you saying you don't want me because this person said it? It's dude, no one cares. Just fucking sign. Real baseball fans care about where you're going to sign, and that's about it. Like, I'm over him and his stupid fucking agent trying to, like, bring all this hype. And it's like, we know how the baseball offseason works.
Yeah.
The big guys, sucks. The big five aren't going to sign for at least another few weeks. And we know
But that's kind of a new trend, though. I mean, it's only happened the past, what, 4 years?
4 years, yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, hats off to them for trying something different. But fuck, dude. I mean, no matter what, baseball offseason is going to suck unless for some reason it just turns a corner and decides to be the NBA free agency where just people sign. That's literally, like, there's nothing else you could do besides just signing people to get people excited. I'm sick of interest, serious interest. No, this time it's real. Like,
they're in talks.
Yeah, take your interest and shove it up your ass, okay? Yeah. I don't want to hear about it, John Heyman, okay? I don't want to hear about it, Mark Feinstein. I don't want to hear about interest anymore. I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, I think because the NBA has the max contracts, that's why everything is so expedited there, because there's not.
I don't think so though,
much wiggle room. Well, you look like a guy like fucking Giannis. You know he's going to get the max contract. You know that. Yeah. So the Bucks know that's what they're going to have to give him, and that's just the way it is. But
even mid-tier guys are getting solid money. That's the thing now in baseball. Mid-tier guys aren't getting solid money anymore.
Right, but that's the point about what's setting free agency back for everyone else is these big five guys, like the Realmutos, the Springers, the Bauers. They're the ones that set the line for all these other mid-tier guys. So none of the mid-tier guys want to sign until they know where the cream of the crop is signing, and teams don't want to sign them either.
And so I don't know who to blame
on these guys.
We don't know who to blame. We don't know. I mean, at first you want to be like, players just fucking sign it already. But at the same time, it's like these teams are now holding out. So you can't blame the players being like, well, I'm just going to wait then. I'm going to wait and I'm going to get my money. Hats off to the Atlanta Braves, though. They get who they want and they pay them and then they move on.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm just going to be a typical American and just be a baby and not blame anyone, but just be mad about it. And go, storm some buildings and cry when I don't get
storm fucking what's the equivalent for baseball? Just storm Dodger Stadium. No one's gonna be there.
Storm the Hall of Fame and just burn it down because my players aren't getting signed. Fucking babies.
Well, if we're talking about Hall of Fame, we got to mention Barry Bonds is not expected to make it in, and he's getting fucking robbed again. If he doesn't make it, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
Kind of what we were saying earlier, we haven't seen each other in 3 weeks. A lot has changed. I think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame.
He should.
I'm going to go. I had a long talk with one of my good friends, and we were talking about the Hall of Fame. And what I think is the stupidest thing about the Hall of Fame is Barry Bonds is going to get in next year. I honestly think that. Because I think writers depend on this whole well, okay, he's not a first ballot guy, but it come around his 10th and last chance, we're going to give it to him. So I think Schilling will get in. I think Clemens will get in. I think Bonds will get in. And then the floodgates are going to open for, some of these guys who were part of the steroid era.
Yeah. I feel like there's no holes in the argument for him to get in. Like, if you want to go steroid argument, I don't want anyone steroids in the Hall. They're already in the Hall. Jeff Bagwell's in the Hall. Like, there's dudes who are in the Hall, so you can't all of a sudden stop it now. Like, at least let the best player who took steroids into the Hall. If you want to say something like I've said multiple times, you want to be like, hey, he's not the home run king. I could see where you're coming from. Obviously, if he didn't take steroids, he wouldn't have as many home runs. We could talk about how many we think he would have had. I think it's ridiculous to think he wouldn't have over 500, but I could get where you're coming from with that. So I just feel like there's no argument. And there's this new theory that should come out. A tweet went a little viral of a guy who didn't put any people on his Hall of Fame ballot because, he said that no one who made it statistically should have been in met his moral standards to be in. And it's like, bro, what fucking gatekeeper are you? What type of little man syndrome do you have to just hold this little bit of power? And there's this new like idea that maybe Hall of Fame shouldn't just be on writers, it should go to players as well. But the only problem with players is sometimes I feel like they might have a little bias. I mean, that's the idea of writers. They're not supposed to have bias. They're not supposed to be fans. They're supposed to be writers. But
Right.
these writers have too big of a head. Not sure if I would go with players solely. Maybe they have a little bit of a say. But fuck, dude, something's got to happen.
It's tough because the Baseball Hall of Fame is the most exclusive Hall of Fame out of any of the sports. Football gives out the Hall of Fame nods to above average players, to great players. But the Hall of Fame in baseball is reserved for like exceptional talents. So I back the idea of not voting for someone based on a statistical standpoint that you don't believe the guy deserves to be with those other 330 some odd guys. But this whole moral thing, Jesus Christ, if we're going to say it was like a moral issue with people taking steroids, I mean, there are certainly more moral issues that I'm sure you could look at some of these players that they don't deserve to be celebrated because, or people that are already in the Hall of Fame deserve to be in there.
Yeah, if you're gonna go all moral, then you need to kick Ty Cobb out of the fucking Hall of Fame. Piece of shit. Like, like since we're talking about history, more groundbreaking stuff. Bianca Smith is the first female black coach in a major league baseball organization. Gosh, I can't say, like, there's so many little things I'm trying to fit in. Yeah, it's groundbreaking shit, and obviously the people are coming out of the fucking woodworks being like, "Oh, is she qualified? Is she qualified?" Like, bitch, look at her qualifications.
Yeah, I love this whole like, "Is she qualified?" It's like, you first look at the qualifications, and yes, she is. But then these other people are like, "Well, I played high school baseball." Oh, really? You played high school baseball? Did you ever coach collegiate baseball? No, shut the fuck up. And I think that makes me the most upset about this whole thing is when it all came out and I was reading it. It was like, yeah, Bianca Smith, she's 29 years old. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm 29 years old. I haven't done anything with my life. But at least, her getting hired gives me time to talk about it. So, that's good for me, I guess. Yeah. But no, huge congratulations, sir. That's huge.
Obviously probably doesn't mean shit from us, but we're going to congratulate her anyways. Yeah, groundbreaking stuff. Awesome. It's great to see. I mean, in no way is Major League Baseball a fucking charity. So obviously they're hiring her to make the team better. So no one's going to be like, oh, we want press that bad. Like that's like the mental thinking of people. Like they just need good press. So they want to hire people like, no, bitch.
No, and furthermore, we all know Boston is a racist fucking city. So
yeah, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, so a lot of people in Boston, I'm sure, are having issues with it. And, Boston's had this bad record of diversity. I mean, they were the last team, I believe the last team to integrate, as far as their team. They were the last team to integrate in all of baseball. Yeah. So, yeah,
and then
this is definitely not a press move.
Yeah, you hear quotes from players all the time that they get, players of color, they get called the N-word all the time when they're playing in Boston. So
yeah, fucking Adam Jones did like 3 years ago.
Yeah. I remember there was a thing that Adam Jones said, like, what's it called? Someone threw a banana on the field in San Francisco, and the guy was like, "Oh shit! Like, I didn't really think of it like that. I was just disgusted. I threw the banana on there just because I threw the banana. It had nothing to do with it, but I don't know. I don't know. That needs some more investigating, but
yeah, we all know Boston and Philly. For instance, there was a player on the Kings who got traded to the Philadelphia Flyers hockey team who was African-American, Wayne Simmons, big fan. The Philadelphia fans were throwing bananas at him, and he was one of their own fucking players. So, America, we got a long way to go, but this is a step in the right direction. So, big ups to Miss Smith.
Yeah, and obviously hopefully she's going to succeed. She's in the American League, so hopefully, the Red Sox are good. I don't mind that at all. It sucks when like something groundbreaking like that happens and then you got to root against them because, you don't want them to win, but, you want them to be good,
Yeah. So I hate the Red Sox, so whatever.
Of course. There's something that's kind of been weighing on my mind, right? When we talk about rebuilding and just the new age of baseball and where it's going, and everyone talks about going for it and when do you go for it? When do you stay? When do you keep your prospects? So I put out a poll and I asked people, as a fan, which scenario would you prefer over like a 10-year span? And I'm glad I don't mean that. Sorry, I'm not glad. Now that it happened, I'm happy that I can at least bring this up to where does it look like I'm just being a homer and I'm trying to talk shit about the Dodgers, not winning a World Series. But I said scenario A, playoff 9 out of 10 times, but no ring. And scenario B is playoff like 2 out of 10 times with 1 ring, but you're rebuilding in most of those years. So, 3 or 4 years, they're like, fucking 100 lose team. And mostly, I mean, was it 87% said B, they want the ring and to deal with some rebuilding, and only 13% said A. Because I understand winning a World Series is great, and it's obviously the best thing in the world that could happen as a sports fan. But I got to be honest with you, it is really shitty when it's someone who watches all 162 games, knowing the team is going to lose like 100 games, and you're still going to watch these games. When you're in those moments, you're like, fuck, dude, this, like, who cares what happened like 2 years ago at that point, But at the same time, I mean, is that something like, at least you're in it every year, is that something that ever like crossed your mind? Obviously you've lived in those shoes more, but.
Oh, fuck you. Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, my whole life until about a couple months ago.
Yeah.
No, I want the fucking ring.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it is more of, it's a fine line because you have to be willing to give away minor league talent to bring in major league ready players. Mm-hmm. And I think, excuse me, I think the Dodgers have done an excellent job of that in recent years with, the Alex Verdugo and Jeter Downs getting traded to Boston to bring in Mookie Betts, because there's just something about, look at the Dodgers. They have so much homegrown talent, so they obviously know what they're doing. But Mookie Betts was that guy that we needed to get us over the hump. And I don't know. I'm a big believer, I guess, in I think it pays off quicker and it feels better to me as a fan to have major league proven talent than be waiting on guys for 3-4 years. You obviously need a mix of both, but this idea of being able to, have a horrible minor league system to bring in a bunch of guys isn't great. And this idea of having this robust minor league system but not win games is not great either. There has to be a comfortable balance, and it's a fine line.
Yeah, but that's really hard. The thing is as a fan, like, yes, like being disappointed year after year, that sucks, and you want the World Series, but is it just worth those rebuilding years? Because yes, when it happens, it's like yes, and you're on cloud 9 at least until the next season, but is it worth just those rebuilding years? Because you could talk about your 2020 World Series all day, but in 2 years, if the Dodgers suck all of a sudden, no one's going to give a fuck. No one gives a fuck about you outside.
It's worth it doing it the way the Dodgers have done it, by not trading away big prospect guys, specifically at the trade deadline to acquire elite major league talent. It worked out for them. So it's easy for me to say now, like, oh yeah, this was great. Where, 3 years ago, I might've been like, why aren't we trading Cody Bellinger? Who the fuck cares? Like, so it's easy to say it now, but I remember 5, maybe 6 years ago, Jock Peterson was like our big prospect coming up. And there was a lot of talks that, if we were to make a big deal at the deadline, he'd be the guy that went. Now that would have probably been fine, but it's easy to say that now, hindsight being 2020.
Yeah. And I think first of all, I'm glad that, like, because I've been wanting to bring it up for a while, that's something that's been on my mind. Like, what would you rather have as a fan? But I didn't want it to seem like I was being like, you suck, we're the best. You know what I mean? Because obviously you want the ring. Like, obviously that's the better. And I didn't want to be like, 3 championships in 10 years. Because, like, obviously you would prefer that, but that's fucking rare. So most of the time, it's like a situation like the Royals, where they're in the World Series twice and win one, and now they're rebuilding for a number of years. That's more of the normal situation. And I don't know, like it. For someone like me, I do like watching young guys and, come up, and I don't mind. I don't want to say I don't mind it because, obviously not getting in the playoffs and having a shitty team sucks. I still watch the games. You know what I mean? Even if it's a shitty team, I'm still pumped up to watch the games every single day. So I don't know. Like, I would rather win the ring, I think. But I think, honestly, it's closer than some people say.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I want the ring because from, I don't know, when I was 4 or 5 years old and started to have an understanding of baseball, it was 15 years of that, of just shit Dodger baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I know that all too well. I still watch every game. You still get excited about certain players, but there's nothing compares to what the Dodgers have done in the last 4 years. That's been
going to playoff games.
Fun I've ever had watching baseball. Absolutely. So and I want that ring, baby.
I just think that, like, because when you do trade away that player to try to go for it, and say you fall short or you get one championship, 2 years later, now all the analysts are like, well, they shouldn't have traded player A. Look, he's a fucking star. It's like, well, we did it to get a fucking ring and we got one. Like, people get on the Cubs' head sometimes for trading away Gleyber Torres. And it's like, bitch, they got Chapman for 1 year. They knew it was for 1 year, and it set him over the top, and they got the ring. They entered the then all of a sudden people are like, oh gosh, the Cubs are a failure, and they were supposed to be a dynasty. And like, bro, they still made the playoffs a lot. They went not like they didn't go to the World Series again, but they went fairly deep. They weren't like out of in the first round. So like, I don't know. I just feel like
yeah, I mean, they won the World Series and then went to the NLCS the next season.
Yeah, it's like then why are we like putting them down for going for it? But then you say you want the ring.
Right, you can't have both. You can't get Ross Chapman and still have Gleyber Torres. You can't have both.
Mm-mm.
And who's to say? Maybe Gleyber Torres would bring you 5 World Series. I doubt it.
And then if why don't you bring up the other side of the poll?
There's something I was going to say. All right. Yeah, and then we asked, on the flip side, if you were an owner, which scenario would you prefer? Same scenario. This time the gap was definitely lessened. It was 57% said B, so playoffs 2 out of 10 years, but winning a ring, and 43% said rebuilding. I don't know. It's a hard question because the correct answer is you just want to win as many rings as possible, but you need to have, in theory, those rebuilding years because that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Teams kind of fall apart because of money and free agents and all that. So
I think owners like maybe, I mean, from what he's shown so far, like a Steve Cohen, owner who's actually like truly a fan, I think they would prefer a ring and they would deal with those times because no matter what baseball, you're making money and good money. But if you're someone who is just like, I'm going in it as an investment. I mean, obviously you probably like baseball a little bit, but it's like more of an investment for you, then you're probably going to want that steady revenue stream over 10 years, and I mean, yeah, you don't make as much money, winning the World Series, but over that 10-year span, you're going to make a lot more money and a lot more consistent. And I think that's why teams are built the way they are now. I think that's why teams are like really holding on to the prospects now because owners are like, no, we need to be competitive and make the playoffs as many times. I mean, yeah, if we win the World Series, cool, whatever. But let's not trade away everyone because I want that money, son. Give me that paper.
But and also, I mean, the biggest thing is you need to have a robust system in the minor league of great talent so that you can deal those guys away without necessarily being hurt. Like, Willie Calhoun of the Texas Rangers was traded to the Rangers from the Dodgers to get Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
Willie Calhoun is going to be a great player, But look at our outfield. We're fine.
Yeah.
And it got us to the World Series. It got us within a game of winning the World Series. And we all know the fiasco bullshit that happened. But it's that kind of...
What do you mean?
Fuck you. Fuck you. But, it's those are the kinds of things GMs and scouts, just the organization in general, that's what they should be striving to do. And, I may be biased and a homer, but I think the Dodgers have done a great job of doing it.
And unfortunately, I have to agree with you. I mean, honestly, that was the one knock against them. It was like, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Yeah, you're always there, but you ain't getting the ring. And that was my only little comfort. I mean, honestly, I think now it's a little like before then I would have been like, oh, I'd rather be in the as living in as a Giants fan, like, the 3 rings, missing in playoffs and doing rebuilding a couple years, not that big of a deal. I mean, that was fucking amazing, an amazing run, way over the playoffs every single year and never getting a ring, but now it's starting to, I mean, still obviously, I mean, no matter what, I'd never change, but I'd still think the 3 is even better, even though we went through that shit, but I feel like it's a lot closer. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I agree.
All right. Well, I'm going to go to a fuck you of the week. And that fuck you of the week is going to go to a Tyler Coe. Fuck you, Tyler, for jinxing the National League West. A couple episodes ago, you were like, oh, Blake Snell, the most fake Cy Young bullshit. I forgot what you got. I don't know.
I don't know if I ever said that. I don't think I ever said that.
Yes, I did. Yes, you did. You said like phony.
Man, these are fucking. This is America's Trump facts at its best right here, folks.
Here's the thing. Now I'm gonna have to freaking pull it up. I'm gonna listen back. I forgot what fucking episode.
Oh shit! I was wrong. I just heard what I wanted to hear.
Listen, maybe
I got Blake Snell, the biggest fluke Cy Young of all time. Keep going.
Okay, but you jinxed it. It's your fucking fault. The Padres are fucking loaded in their rotation now. So fuck you, Tyler, for speaking it into existence pretty much.
Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
Are they? They're definitely a better team than they were. But
yes. Can they compete against the Dodgers? Yes.
Oh, of course. But
okay.
I think
I thought that's where you're
going out. Here's the thing. Snell, great pickup. I think Snell's a great pitcher. So I don't know if I really said he was a fake Cy Young.
You didn't say fake.
Just the World Series alone.
But I think it might have been the episode that we were talking about before the World Series started with Brett. I'm 90% sure you did say.
Yeah, if I was talking shit, sure.
Okay.
I say a lot of
things
that aren't real when I'm talking shit.
It doesn't matter if you were talking shit. You still jinxed it.
Okay.
Fucking asshole. What are you talking about?
Dodgers still won the World Series in 6 games, like I said. Anyways, no, I don't know. We're gonna have to see, because what's coming out of San Diego is that Dinelson Lamet is gonna be ready to go at the beginning of the season. Yeah. But I think that's like best case scenario, and I think Yu Darvish, them trading for Yu Darvish, is kind of a backup to if he's not ready. And I mean, even if Dinelson Lamet isn't ready, their rotation's still pretty good.
Very good.
And
it's very
definitely good. Their rotation in the, not this coming season, but the following season.
Yeah.
When Mike Clevenger comes back, that's going to be fucking nasty.
But good thing is Clevenger's just going to be there for a year. That's the only year that's the last year of his contract.
Unless he resigns. Doesn't he just seem like he would be a San Diego guy?
Yeah. Oh, no, definitely. There's a definitely huge chance. But at the same time, they have a lot on the books now. Like before they were like in the playoff, they were like, they have no one on the books. Sign Manny Machado. Sign Eric Hosmer. Sign, extend Will Myers. But like now, I feel like starting to catch up with them. I don't know if they're going to be able to afford a Clevenger, and then all those contracts, especially thinking about like, shit, we got to extend Tatis. We got, like.
No, this just goes into like the whole Padres, like, look how much money you're paying. And it's like, yeah, but how much of that money is homegrown talent versus San Diego? Their top contracts, besides, Tatis being extended at some point.
Yeah.
are all brought in from the outside. So fuck Padres fans. You can quote me on that.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
No, but like my only thing is Dodger fans on Twitter are getting a little out of pocket. A little bit. They're talking about like, oh my God, shut the fuck. Like you guys aren't even a thought. And I'm not worried about the Dodgers are still miles ahead. They're not. You can make it.
I still think we're ahead.
Maybe.
A pretty decent margin.
No.
Well,
I'm sorry.
That we disagree on.
If you break down starting pitching, right? Walker Buehler probably better than any pitcher in either rotation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at any day, Blake Snell can beat Walker Buehler. Any day of the week, it could happen. A 2020
it could.
It's sorry, not just that it could, but it wouldn't be like it's comparable. Like Bueller's better.
Sure.
I'm not saying that he's not, but Blake Snell's up there. He can compete with them, no problem. A 2021 Clayton Kershaw. I mean, yeah, he's still very good. I mean, but Yu Darvish can beat him at any time. I mean, last year Yu Darvish was runner up to Cy Young. Like he had a really good year last year. I mean, yeah, 6-game season, but you could say the same thing either way. I mean, then you got Nelson Lamet. Like, I mean, yeah, Gonsolin and May and who? Why am I spacing on the last one? Oh, and Gonsolin, May, and Urias. They're really good, really solid. But Lamet's supposed to be like the. Oh, yeah, that's true. But Lamet's supposed to be the truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Lamet's supposed to be the next big thing. And, like, plus they got, like, Mackenzie Gore coming. They got dudes. And that lineup is very good. Yes, the Dodger lineup, Mookie Betts, best player on either team. I get it. Corey Seager, very, very, very good. But Manny Machado looked to turn the corner. Tatis might be the best. Might be the best player in baseball in the next year or two. Their lineup is very comparable. So I'm not
saying the Dodgers are miles ahead of the Padres. I'm not saying that because
I feel like we're on the same page, but like we're not sure where we are in the middle. If that makes sense.
Think the Dodgers have a better lineup. I think the rotations are comparable. I also think the Dodgers have a much better bullpen, which we're going to get into in a minute with the signings.
Yeah.
I think the Dodgers are a better team. Do I think it's going to be incredibly competitive? Yes. Do I think the National League West, division title is going to be a lot more competitive? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm not, Padres fans are out there like, oh, the Dodgers' reign is over, like that stupid fucking nerd on Twitter I see with those dumbass glasses all the time. And
yeah, he also thinks that, that series didn't count because they had hurt players. So like,
yeah,
don't pay no mind to that dude. But
that kid can go fuck himself with his little Canadian beady little South Park eyes. Probably why he hides them under the glasses. Bench's Third Podcast. We'll body shame you to death. Fuck you.
I don't know. I feel like it's very. I mean, I think the big question was 2020 a blip on the radar, 60-game season, we can't take it seriously, or is Cody Bellinger not, MVP caliber type player? Is Max Muncy starting to see a dip? I think those are two big questions if you're talking about comparing lineups, because if those two guys were close to what they were in 2020 and 2021, the Dodgers don't have a better lineup.
Yeah, but you can't say that though, because Cody Bellinger had an MVP.
You can say that.
No, because Cody Bellinger's MVP season was a full season. So
that's what I'm saying.
I'm saying, but you can't because the season immediately after that is only 60 games long. You can't be you can't. You can't. You absolutely can't.
What I'm saying is we have to see, not saying, oh, we read into it. What I'm saying is we have to see if
absolutely
Cody Bellinger, if that shit was real and we're about to see a dip, because there's times when a player will have a great season when they're really young and it's like, oh, this guy's going to be the truth. This is it. And then, and shit. So, and obviously it's a lot more likely that he's back to that MVP status or just a very, very good player. But if it's like 2020, and I mean, let's be real, Max Muncy, it won't be that far-fetched if he goes back down to, having around a 2020 season, that he did. I don't think that's that far-fetched. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen. What I'm saying is
and I also think it wouldn't be that far-fetched to say he has a year comparable. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I think we agree. I think I just kind of misunderstood what you're saying. 2021 will be, the measuring stick.
And that's what I'm saying. Like those two guys, I mean, Mookie's Mookie. I mean, Corey Seager, the only time he had a bad year is when he just came back from Tommy John. I don't think there's any reason to question those dudes. But though, I mean, Bellinger and Muncy, they're still very new to the league, only a couple years. Max Muncy's new, revamped swing. I get it. But if they're not what they were in 2017 or close to it, I mean, you can't expect them to have great years like that every year. But in 2018, then the Padres do have a better lineup.
Yeah, but this is all
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but that's what I'm saying.
You can say that about the Dodgers too. If any of the Padres players regress, then the Dodgers going to have a better lineup. It's the fact of the matter is we're going to have to wait it out. But I still think on paper as a whole, the Dodgers are the better team. Mm-hmm. And the Dodgers definitely get an advantage because they've been the better team. So until the Padres prove that they can win a real playoff series, not that joke of a wild card series where they were parading in the streets, then, it is what it is.
Where I'm coming from is just the Dodger Twitter clap back to it, being like, oh shit, those are solid pickups. Like, I still think the Dodgers are better, but whatever. It's to being like, they're nothing. You guys are still just shit. It's like, bro.
No, I don't agree with that. I think that's the Dodger Twitter sphere is just like any other, sports team shit, Twitter sphere. Is there's a lot of homers that are just going to be like, oh, we're the best. And I've always said it on here. I'm always going to be super critical of what the Dodgers do. And I always kind of, I try to see things for what they are. And I think the Padres, you cannot say, honestly, the Padres didn't take a huge leap with these two. Yeah. So if anyone's trying to say that, like, oh, this isn't a big deal, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah. And that's the impression I got from Dodgers Twitter. Maybe I just saw a random 5 tweets in a row and I got something in my head, but that's just where the mode went. And
So now to kind of back my claim of the Dodgers being a better team, we re-signed Blake Trinan just yesterday. 2 more years. $18 million. Fucking steal. Mm-hmm. And when we got Corey Knebel, I thought that means Trinan's gone. Mm-hmm. They went back and they got him, and there's an option for a 3rd year, which who knows, maybe that'll work out. And it only comes with $1.5 million buyout, so no big deal. Mm-hmm. And then we signed Tommy Kahnle. Obviously, he's not going to pitch this year, just coming off Tommy John in August, I believe it was. I mean, I suppose there's a chance he could be on the team for the playoffs, but the Dodgers are finally doing what they need to do. They're bolstering that bullpen. Yeah. Yeah, and they're still, scary. What's up?
Which is scary.
Yeah, and there's still Liam Hendricks is out there. Boy, would I love to have him.
I don't know if they're in on him, though.
Here's the thing, though.
That's going to cost some money.
The way I see it, the Dodgers, as of right now, have at least 3, candidates for a closer. I'm sure Kenley Jansen's going to be our closer.
Obviously.
Trinan and then Knebel.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about Knebel. You're right.
So if anything, it becomes so unstable and, Kenley Jansen loses the gig, we have another guy. But we also are setting up a 7th, 8th, 9th guy consistently.
And then you also got Gratterall too. So
absolutely. And potentially Pedro Baez. I don't know what's going to happen with him being a free agent. I'm a big fan of Pedro Baez. I wasn't. Believe me, I fucking wasn't.
I know. That's why I'm laughing.
If they could get him for a decent price, come back for another 2 years, fuck it. I say we do it, but who knows? But I think those signings are huge because there's not much we really need to do with the lineup. I mean, we're going to lose Jock. We're going to lose Kike.
Yeah, the only thing that is automatic, the thing that could be a major hole is Kike and Jock were major contributors in the postseason. They're going to hit 200 in the regular season, maybe a little bit over, but they're going to hit some bombs. I mean, obviously Jock more than Kike, but they're going to fill Jock and Kike's role with their new guys, maybe the Zach McKinstry and Gavin Lux. The only thing is, are they going to be playoff players? Are they going to be the guys that show up?
We're going to find out. I mean, I don't think Gavin Lux will be. But, I mean, McKinstry, I think McKinstry is going to be on the opening day lineup. But you also have to remember, this is going to open up doors. We're a little biased, but this is going to open up doors for Edwin Rios, who has already shown he can fucking hit bombs in the playoffs in the regular season. Yeah. I think Matt Beatty has a bounce back year. And the Dodgers are still in talks about DJ LeMahieu potentially coming in and playing third base. It feels good, man. It feels good to be a Dodger fan. I can't state that enough.
To touch back on what we were saying about so many of the beat writers and we're like, by Christmas, no one or not is going to be a Dodger. It's going to happen. Like, dude, like you just lose so much credibility when you say shit. Like, I'm so fucking sick of it.
Dude, they need those retweets.
That clickbait and that another thing too, Giants fans and Giants Twitter were going crazy. Like, Farhan's got to make a move. Farhan's got to answer. And what part of the process do you think we're in? Like, we almost made the playoffs. Yes, we're in the right direction, but you don't go all in right now. That's what the Brewers did, and look where the fuck the Brewers are right now. They were competitive for a couple of years, and now they're going downhill. You need to stay on the paths, keep making these little signings of the Scalafanis, the Brevias, and you know what I mean? Like, you try to find those guys to when your really talented guys come up, and you keep trying to produce talent to keep coming up over the years. And then when you're there, then you start answering and making signings. Farhan's not going to do it, and I'm glad he's not going to do it just yet. Wait for another year or two, and we're gonna be competitive. Hopefully, maybe we'll sneak in that second wildcard spot. But right now, don't pull the fucking trigger.
Yeah, but you have to see what's out there, what's available. And I mean, I'm not saying Trevor Bauer is like a fucking generational talent, because I don't think he is. But he's a great pitcher. And then let's say you locked him up for 5 years. Maybe the first 2 years are kind of a wash because you aren't going to be competitive. But if you're going to be competitive for those back 3 years, I think you do need to make a move. But there's so many factors that go into it. I think people forget, like for me, one of the biggest things is, are they a cultural fit? And I think that's going to be the big thing for guys like Trevor Bauer. He's not going to be a lot of places. So like there's so many
LA he will be.
Yeah, but there are so many factors. Like, you don't just like, oh, this guy's the best guy out there, let's go get him. But you certainly have to consider it.
I would never say not consider a Trevor Bauer, but what I'm saying is the Giants and Farhan should not be pressured to make a move right now. Not to mention, next year is the big shortstop free agent class. Corey Seager. I'm not sure I think I heard Carlos Correa is there as well.
Corey Seager is not even going to make it to free. He's not going to make it to free agency.
I don't know. Francisco Lindor, Trevor Story. One thing the Giants are missing, I mean, you could say Marco Luciano, that's supposed to be their number one guy, maybe the number one prospect in baseball by the end of the year, people are talking about. But a lot of scouts are saying he's not going to be a shortstop. They're going to move him to third, or they're going to put him at second. He's, whatever. If they sign one of those guys, I mean, imagine if they signed fucking Corey Seager and took him away from the Dodgers. Holy shit. Or like, I mean, obviously that's a little more far-fetched, but like Francisco Lindor, a Trevor Story, if they signed those, they would need that more than Trevor Bauer, in my opinion. Not only that, but to give him another year to have their other guys come up and then be a true, because you can't be an okay team and win the NL West. This is not the fucking AL or NL Central here. Okay. The Dodgers and the Padres are real. You need to freaking make sure you have freaking bullets for your guns before you show up. Okay. Yeah. Get your shit ready.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. You know, I think fans who are demanding
only points that I make.
We need to be competitive. You're not going to be. Your best case scenario is sneaking into that second wild card.
We're going to be competitive. Exactly. Competitive there. Yeah.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like the margin between whoever wins the NL West, whoever gets the first wild card spot is going to be razor thin. So your best hope is competing for that second wild card spot.
Yep.
Yeah. Cause you're absolutely right. You're not going to compete with the NL West for who knows, a couple of years.
And especially with that, honestly, and I feel like me and you are pretty level headed, but you're a little bit more of a downer, and I'm a little.
Of course, yeah.
I'm a little more of I want to say like
a little more optimistic.
Optimistic, but I felt like that was calling you a bitch and being like sugarcoating mine, and then just basically calling you a bitch. Which that's kind of fine with that. I'm fine. I'm fine with that. So I just feel like in at least 2023 that it's possible for us to win the division. And that's probably the earliest. I mean, I know a couple of years ago I said, 2021, I think it's possible. I mean, yeah, it was possible if they made two giant leaps. One year they didn't make a leap, and the next year it was a solid leap, but not nearly enough. Joey Bart didn't come up and rake, and it's going to be a year or two, plus more pitching needs to develop. So
yeah,
it's going to be a couple more years. But I don't think it's going to be 4 or 5.
I think the big thing, I don't know, for me and maybe for you right now, but certainly in a couple of years, the NL West is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Because it hasn't been competitive. I mean, it was competitive a few years ago with the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers, but it hasn't been that competitive. But now
Not really, though. I mean, they fucking just swamped them in the only playoff series they had with each other.
Right. But I'm saying in the division race.
Yeah.
But I cannot fucking wait to, of course, get my COVID vaccine and hopefully go to a game down at Petco. Because I'm going to be swinging on Padre fans all fucking day. Literally and figuratively, of course.
It's Dodger or Giant Stadium South. Okay, there's more Giant and Dodger fans there at those games than fucking Padre fans.
I know.
So.
But now it's going to be fun because Padre fans feel like they have a little, they have a little something to say now. So it's going to be fun.
I'm fine with saying it. Listen, a 3 and 5 years, that's you're going to have some rebuilding after that. It is what it is. Stop bitching about how bad the team was for 3 or 4 years. They're already on the upturn. Fucking take it. It is what it is. They're actually going to be competitive, I think, in 2021 for that last wild card spot, or maybe if it's an extended playoffs, that second wild card spot. Fucking enjoy it. Unless a fucking miracle happens, you're probably not going to go deep in the playoffs either. But hey, enjoy the ride.
Yeah,
enjoy the win.
Life's just a ride, bro. It's a garden. You gotta dig it.
You gotta dig it. Before we sign out, there's one thing that happened a couple weeks ago, but we were on our little Christmas vacation, if you will. The Negro Leagues are getting recognized. Their stats are getting recognized. I guess with Major League. I don't know exactly the terminology you're supposed to say. Recognized as.
It's going to be like a
conjunction with.
In conjunction, yeah.
So Willie Mays is going to get some more home runs. Hank Aaron's going to get some more home runs. And if for some reason, if anyone thinks that's not fair, I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not as legit players it was at Major League. Bitch, it's not because they weren't good. They were not allowed to fucking play. Yeah, all the good players that did. Yeah, it's not like they were hitting 700 in the Negro Leagues and then they come over to MLB and it's they're barely hitting 300. No, they fucking dominated in both leagues. They let Babe Ruth fucking hit all those home runs off fucking dentists. Okay, they can count the Negro Leagues, and it should be. There should be no question about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly how it's going to go down, but now, you have someone like a Josh Gibson, who was heralded as the best player in the Negro Leagues, and now is going to be recognized as one of the best players ever. He hit 451 in the late 30s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's going to be a record now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure when you're going to be able to go, and maybe you already can, but I don't know. If you go to MLB.com and Hank Aaron has the most home runs ever now, because he should, now that they've been combined. But I don't know when that's going to happen.
I don't know if he has more than. I mean, I don't know how long he played in the Negro Leagues. I don't know how many home runs he has there. But if it's more than Barry, then yeah, give him his crown back.
Yeah.
I to think that it's not the same level playing field than as far as Major Leagues back then and Negro Leagues back then you're fucking lying to yourself. Like there's no fucking way.
The other thing I didn't know is there's a few leagues, like independent leagues and stuff, that the Major Leagues have as being part of the record books. So the Negro Leagues is definitely the most equivalent to Major League Baseball. So the fact that it fucking took this long is ridiculous. So yeah, good on us, I guess. Finally, I mean,
it was all on us. We did it all.
Well, no. I'm saying like the collective we. It's one of those things where it's like, congratulations, we did something we should have done decades ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good that it happened, but like, Jesus Christ, what took so fucking long? So as always, this episode was brought to you by Renovation Candle Company. Spring collection launching in a couple weeks. Check it out. Got a lot of new fire coming for you guys. So thanks as always for supporting, and yeah,
super sick hot fire coming at you, just like this episode. Make sure to be liking and subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and send a like, comment, all that good stuff. Help us grow. Make sure if you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review to help us grow. And Tyler's going to say something.
This video gets 1,000 likes. I'll live stream me swinging on Padres fans. First chance I get. 1,000 likes.
Yeah.
Or maybe 10 likes. I don't know. Just fucking like it and I'll be swinging.
Just 1.5 likes will be fun.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back next week. Fuck Aubrey Huff, and we will see you next week.